What Samsung is doing to the S26 Ultra will convince even more people to just grab an iPhone. Why would you want to buy an S26 Ultra if it's just going to look like an obsolete iPhone? Next month, Apple is set to introduce its iPhone 17 family, with the Pro models getting treated to a noticeable design update at the back that will have a big bulge that will not just cover the rear camera array, but also a major chunk of the backside. Samsung reportedly has plans to adopt the same design for its S26 Ultra, but that is only because the latter is expected to arrive with some camera upgrades that were long overdue, and the bump was the only way to provide ample cover for these sensors without resorting to those ridiculously big camera bumps. When it was originally reported that Samsung was rounding off the corners on the Galaxy S25 Ultra, I was pretty mad. The Samsung phones had, in just a couple of years, become nearly indistinguishable from their former counterparts. Those strong edges, that commanding presence, and the general feeling oozing from them, that of a real flagship phone, become unmistakable. And now, Samsung was just throwing it away. Granted, the new design is a bit gentler on the hands, but I was in the camp of folks who wanted the Galaxy flagships to stay appearing like the most commanding phones on the market. Suffice to say that the new design, no matter how sleek and elegant it seems, is a downgrade for me. And what do you know? Samsung is doing it again with even rounder corners with the Galaxy S26 Ultra. If Samsung is making its flagship even rounder, then it is fully giving up the visual identity associated with its phones. The S26 Ultra will look even more like the base S26 model and will resemble the iPhone even more. Apple holds tremendous market share in the US, though it has dipped a touch recently, and Samsung needs to stand out as much as possible. I don't know about you, but if I was an iPhone 16 user wanting to move to an Android, I'd have welcomed Samsung a lot easier if its phones still looked radically different. If the ordinary consumer looks at the two phones side by side and doesn't see any substantial changes, then there is a good possibility that they'll merely choose the popular iPhone brand. Apple, being an American corporation, already offers it an edge over Samsung across the United States. I don't want S26 Pro Max, Samsung. I want you to bring back what the Ultra used to be. Or, hear me out, just give us the Note phones again. I adored how they used to look. Fascinatingly, or frustratingly, Apple is doing the same thing. The new iPhone 17 Pro look is heavily inspired by the Google Pixel 9 and its prior generations. In fact, the iPhone 17 Air is pretty like a Pixel phone if you look at it without paying any attention. Why are both Samsung and Apple giving up their phones' unique identities? Change is good, I'm not contesting that, but these are primarily tiny cosmetic modifications to make their phones feel like they're evolving. And yet, the Ultra phones retain their 5000 mAh batteries, and the iPhone is only now shifting over to 120 Hz across all versions. What's going on here? Is Google the only manufacturer out of the big three that remembers what their phones are meant to look like? What's the point of making everything appear and feel the same? Fortunately, there are at least some enhancements coming in the future that will make the iPhone and Galaxy phones worth acquiring. From Apple's side, the iPhone 20 Pro will be debuting a display design that I'm really hoping will inspire more manufacturers to take inspiration from. Meanwhile, the Galaxy S26 Edge will hit the limits of what is feasible with Li-ion batteries, hopefully driving Samsung to convert to silicon batteries too. For now though, I think Samsung is making a significant error with how it's redesigning the S26 Ultra. I can't speak for everyone, but I would definitely think twice about getting a Galaxy flagship if it was just going to look like an old iPhone. Camera enhancements are another highlight of the leaks, with the S26 Ultra improving rather than revolutionizing the camera game. According to Ice Universe, the 200 megapixel primary sensor since S23 Ultra will likely stick around. But the main story is in the optics. A wider aperture is intended to make the camera considerably more light sensitive, better low light photos, and speedier performance. Compared to rivals like Google Pixel 10 Pro, which had S/1.7, and iPhone 17 Pro having S/1.8, the S26 Ultra's lens could outdo them in capturing details in low light. The 5x periscope telephoto lens is also believed to get a bigger aperture, greater zoom images in low light. Leaks show a likely camera configuration of 200-megapixel primary, 50-megapixel ultra-wide, 50-megapixel telephoto with 3.5x or 4x zoom, and maybe another 50-megapixel lens for 8x zoom. Earlier speculations of two 200-megapixel sensors have been refuted, constraints in the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 chipset being the reason. The S26 Ultra's camera system is designed to fulfill the needs of both casual users and photographic experts. It introduces various innovations that elevate mobile photography to new heights. 1. The 200 megapixels primary sensor. With a f1.4 aperture, this sensor excels in low light conditions, creating detailed and vivid photos with minimum noise. 2. The 12 megapixels telephoto lens offers 3x optical zoom and laser autofocus, delivering clear and precise shots even from a distance. 3. Pro Visual Engine enhances image processing, producing greater results in different lighting settings. 4. 4K slow-motion selfies. The front-facing camera offers 12 FPS slow-motion video, giving a creative layer to your selfies and video content. 5. These capabilities make the S26 Ultra a flexible tool for taking everything from professional-grade photographs to creative movies, making sure users can chronicle their lives with unrivaled quality. The S Pen, a Note mainstay, remains a mystery. Despite fears of its demise, recent sources show the S26 Ultra will have the stylus and its dedicated slot. That comes with a trade-off. The phone won't fully support Qi2 wireless charging due to the S Pen slot. If you want magnetic accessories, you'll need a customized case. The S Pen persistence shows Samsung isn't ready to entirely ditch the Note history, even as the design wanders further from its geometric beginnings. Qualcomm's Snapdragon 8 Elite 2 is the foundation for these modifications and will power the S26 Ultra worldwide, with the Exynos 2600 possible in other models like the S26 or S26 Edge in some areas. The Snapdragon ensures maximum performance, and leaks claim a 6% quicker boost clock than the previous one. A thinner, lighter design, likely around 0.315 inches thick compared to the iPhone 17 Pro Max 0.345 inches, is a huge benefit without compromising power. The 6.9-inch dynamic AMOLED display could contain a Flex Magic Pixel OLED that employs AI to limit viewing angles for privacy in crucial apps, a first for Samsung's flagships. It is clear why Samsung refrains from introducing updated camera technology to its flagship series, as it is costly and will result in the firm producing lower margins. Instead, the South Korean firm resorts to increasing image and video quality through software and computational improvements, but there comes a moment when a hardware upgrade becomes unavoidable. According to news, as sensors grow larger in size, manufacturers either resort to deploying bigger camera bumps or, in Apple's case, introduce a gigantic one to make the design feel less out of place. Samsung adding the same increase means that the Galaxy S26 Ultra could arrive with some spectacular camera upgrades, with the potential that the company is also bringing the camera island that stores a myriad of sensors for the most adaptable arrangement. Most smartphone rumor cycles contain some level of contradicting information, and the Galaxy S26 Ultra isn't immune. Throughout this summer, leakers have gone back and forth on whether or not Samsung's next supersized flagship would contain a battery update, perhaps giving the brand's first increase over its typical 5000 mAh cell size ever. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear like that's happening after all. I found fresh documentation from China's Quality Certification Center for a battery with a model number EBBS 948ABY, destined for a forthcoming smartphone, replete with a customary 5000 mAh capacity. While there's no guarantee this battery is exclusively destined for the S26 Ultra, the timing is undoubtedly suspect. Considering the back and forth we've witnessed this summer between leakers promising a greater capacity versus those saying Samsung's sticking with its tried and true capacity, it sure appears like there is evidence pointing in the direction of the latter team. While it's tough to call this good news, it's not necessarily negative news either. The rumor mill has been quite consistent towards pointing to a boost on charging speeds, finally moving away from the 45-watt rating Samsung's kept with on its flagship products for years. Ice Universe, for example, was one of the biggest opponents of that rumored 5,500 mAh capacity, consistently doubling down on the typical 5,000 mAh figure, while concurrently guaranteeing 60 fast charging. An upgrade's an upgrade, even if it's far from what every Galaxy fan would like. It looks like keeping with a 5,000 mAh battery would also allow Samsung to shrink the Galaxy S26 Ultra down to below 8mm, a far cry from something like the Galaxy S25 Edge, but a good improvement nevertheless. Samsung's also purportedly adding battery enhancements to both the Galaxy S26 Edge and the Galaxy S26 Pro, slated to replace the original model, with 4,200 mAh and 4,300 mAh capacities, respectively. So if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more exciting tech news and updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.